The Heartwood Hotel, Chapter 14, The Heartwood Hoax. Even before breakfast was served, the ballroom was bustling with guests, notes in paws and claws. The staff gathered near the stage, while the guests, many still in their nightcaps and gowns, crowded in the middle of the room. Miss J was standing on a table with her book, asking another guest, a chatty chipmunk, some pointed questions. Sybil was comforting and admiring Shrew, who was very disappointed the swallow would not be singing that night. Lord Sudbury was pacing, his tail trembling, with Lady Sudbury, whose fur was in curls, by his side. "Oh, there, my sweet," she said. "There's nothing to fret about." So what are they fretting about? Do you remember what happened in the last chapter? I'm going to show you a little note to remind you. They are fretting because it says, "We regret to inform you that the snow festival has been canceled. There'll be a meeting in the ballroom." So everybody is meeting there. Mona knew differently. It seemed strange to see the ballroom so colorfully decorated with holly berries and spiderweb snowflakes hanging from the ceilings and the tables draped in leaf skeleton lace. Oh, you got to picture that. Leaf skeleton. So it's just like a leaf, but with just the veins. And they've kind of put that all over the tables. Pretty. Mr. Heartwood strode onto the stage under a banner that read First Snow Festival. Shows the banner here. So everything's all set up. But he's got bad news. He straightened his tie, cleared his throat. "Good morning. As you know, there has been a change of plans. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, we must delay the festival." Everyone started asking questions at once. "But why?" said the chipmunk. "That's why I came here," complained the shrew. "I was planning to dance till my paws hurt." "And the decorating," added a small rabbit. "Yes, explain yourself, Mr. Heartwood," demanded Lady Sudbury. Mr. Heartwood tugged at his robe. "The reasons are complicated, but you will be compensated." Okay, that means they'll get their money back. "This is a promise, and there will be a complimentary hot honey and acorn cookies tonight, and Heartwood Hotel cards to play with." "Cards and cookies?" cried the chipmunk. "That's crumbs. I'm heading home." "Me too. No festival means no fun," said the shrew. "No, you must stay," exclaimed Mr. Heartwood. "It isn't safe." "Not safe?" screeched the shrew. "What do you mean?" I knew it, cried Lord Sudbury, his tail a-tremble. "We're under attack. It's the wolves. They're here at last." The guests gasped. "They're not here," said Mr. Heartwood, trying to calm everybody down, "but they are, well, near." That was the wrong thing to say. Now all the guests were panicking. Lord Sudbury's tail began to shake violently. Sybil looked frightened. "I still can't fly properly," she moaned. Miss J was pacing on top of the table, writing furiously. "You must stay here," said Mr. Heartwood. "We all must hide." "No, we have to run away," cried a guest. Others joined in with their suggestions. Mona listened from her spot on the stage, her ears twitching. Running or hiding, those were the choices. Running or hiding. That's what small animals like her did. That's what she had done all her life. She had to run away from Heartwood because she was afraid she had made a mistake. But she was happy she had let in the June bug, and proud of helping the Sudburys and making friends with Sybil. She was especially proud of helping Brumble. She didn't want to run away anymore or hide either. She didn't want the wolves to ruin everything. She wanted the festival. She wanted to decorate the tree. And just as she thought that, she had an idea. A way to decorate a tree and get rid of the wolves. It was time to take Brumble up on his offer. "It's time that we made the wolves run and hide for a change," cried Mona excitedly. Mona didn't realize she had even said that out loud, but she had, and loudly enough, too. Loudly enough that it cut through the conversation and the animals turned to her. "The wolves? What do you mean? You've got to be kidding." But then Sybil said strongly in her sweet voice, "Wait, I want to hear. What is it, Mona? What's your plan?" And so Mona explained. And as she explained, the eyes of the animals grew wide and bright with the power of a big idea, of a brave idea, a brilliant idea. Fernwood Forest was dark when the animals made their way upstream. Of course, many of the guests stayed safely in the hotel. Mr. Sudbury hid in his room, but quite a few did join in, which was good since it took a lot of work and many paws and claws and wings to lift the lanterns upstream to the big hollow tree where Brumble slept. The animals barely spoke, just scurried, swift and silent, as only small animals can be. They brought peppermint, too, in big bundles, to line Brumble's tree and mask his scent. Another part of Mona's plan. You can start to sort of figure out what her plan might be here. It was cold and blustery, and the air smelled like snow. Mona held tight to her unlit lantern, which swung wildly back and forth. When the howls of the wolves were carried by the wind, the animals all paused. And only when the sound faded did they start again. When they reached the big tree, they stopped. The sound of snoring rumbled from inside. "I'll wake him. I know Brumble," said Mona. No one, not even Mr. Heartwood, argued. Mona set down her lantern and scurried through the opening into the darkness and she could smell fur and fish and berries. Quickly her eyes adjusted and she realized she was standing right in front of Brumble's nose. She gulped. Brumble was a lot bigger than she remembered. It was one thing to imagine a plan. Imagine Brumble being happily agreeing. But would he really be so happy to be woken from his sleep? Mona wasn't sure. She gulped again. She could turn back, run and hide. She didn't. And so she said in her biggest voice, "Brumble, wake up!" Brumble's ears twitched, but his eyes did not move or open. "Brumble, wake up!" she tried again. Brumble's other ear twitched. He snorted, but still he snored on. Oh, Mona reached into her apron pocket and pulled out a piece of honeycomb wrapped in a leaf. She had brought it just in case. It was very sticky. "Brumble, please, it's Mona," she cried for the third time in her very loudest voice and held up the honeycomb. Oh, I got to show you a picture we missed. This is the animals walking through the forest to go see Brumble. And then this is a little picture of Mona trying to wake him up. Good, he mumbled. His eyes flickered open. He gave a huge yawn. Mona tumbled backwards from the force of it. Brumble looked at her sleepily and said, "Gosh, it's you." "I'm so sorry to disturb you, Brumble," stammered Mona, "but we need your help." It took Mona a few tries to explain the idea. We still don't quite know what the idea is, because Brumble kept falling back to sleep. But when he finally heard and understood it all, he liked it well enough. "Those noisy wolves are the reason I had to move from my home in the first place," he grumbled. And Brumble especially liked Mr. Heartwood's offer of more honeycomb and berries as well, to be ready for him upon spring awakening. And so Mona went back and told everybody that Brumble was in agreement. The first part of the plan had worked. The next, lining the tree with peppermint, was easy enough to do. But putting up the lanterns proved to be more difficult. The wind blustered, and it made balancing on the branches of the lanterns very difficult. The walnut shells were too big for Mona to hang up herself. So, while the squirrels and chipmunks and birds hooked the lanterns onto the branches, she took the most dangerous job, lighting them. When they were all up and ready, Mona scrambled back and forth, balancing oh so carefully on the limbs, and lit each candle. The flames flickered in the wind, but miraculously stayed lit. Soon there were only a few more candles to light, but Mona wanted to get every last one. The candles were small and would burn down quickly. If the wolves didn't see the lights, if the trick didn't work, it would be her fault. And so she stayed, lighting lantern after lantern until the very last one was ablaze. When she finished, she blew out her candle, climbed down to join the others, and looked up. The tree was beautiful, as though it were hung with stars. For a second, Mona didn't feel like a tiny mouse at all, but big as a bear, maybe even as big as a tree. "It's not the Heartwood, but it just might do," said Mr. Heartwood with a nod, "as long as the wolves think so too." So what do you think she's doing here, decorating this tree? Trying to throw them off, maybe. Just as she said the words, "Ahoo!" the owls made Mona jump. "Come quickly," commanded Mr. Heartwood. The few animals who remained obeyed at once, scurrying away from the tree into the bushes and out of sight. "Ho! Ho!" The owls grew louder, closer. "Stop!" commanded Mr. Heartwood. "We'll make too much noise if we move." It was true, but what would they do? They had no peppermint left to disguise their scent. As long as the wolves head to the tree, we shall be safe, as long as the plan works. Would it? Mona hoped so with all her heart. She could hear the wolves even louder now. They're trying to throw them off and make them think Heartwood Hotel is in a different tree. "Oh, oh!" Mona peered out between the branches of the bush. She couldn't see the wolves yet, but she could see Brumble's tree glittering in the darkness. All at once she froze. Not just the tree was glittering, the forest was too, with eyes, the yellow eyes of wolves. Any moment now they would find the tree. Any moment now they would see the lanterns too. And then something terrible happened. Whoosh! A gust of wind tore through the forest so strong it whipped back branches, snapped away the twigs, and with a mighty wish blew out the lanterns. That's the end of the chapter. So I'm leaving you at a bit of a interesting spot. Kind of a scary spot. Okay, there's 2 more chapters left in the book.